What's up, everybody? This is not the next video in my little series. It's just something that I really wanted to make a video about because it was just so strange, really. Um, and basically, it's just kind of the aftermath of growing up in an abusive household and the kind of little weird things that will happen to you. Um, I'm 31, I think, 31 now. Been out of abusive household for, what, I don't know, 15 years or something. And still to this day, I notice things coming up from it. And I wanted to give you an example and just let you know kind of maybe what you'll be looking for or what you'll be dealing with. So, the backstory to this is I had a client earlier this week that was talking to me about, getting some stuff done to their car. And they were saying, yeah, well, when are you available? I said, well, I have some time available Friday. Just let me know. And all they said was, okay. And I think that was like maybe Tuesday or something. And never heard anything back from them. They never confirmed the time, never did it, never said anything else. And this morning I wake up, slept in a little bit late because I had nothing planned. I wake up, look at my phone, and I have this whole like mess of missed calls and text messages from this individual. To look at them, and they're like, "I'm here." I'm like, this is probably those messages were sent at like 7 a.m. or something, and this is probably like 9:30 to 10 when I woke up. So I wake up and I have all these messages and these calls from this person about I'm here, um, which is baffling, stupid that somebody would just arrive without making sure that someone's available or without making plans of a certain time. Obviously, I cannot be available if I don't know you're coming. So it's a pretty cut and dry situation that this person did something extremely irresponsible and stupid, right? I mean, that's the realistic, logical point of view is that they just made a really dumb decision to just randomly show up assuming I would be available at 7 a.m. Um, so, a healthy person or somebody who probably, didn't grow up in a abusive household would just probably laugh and be like, wow, that was really fucking dumb, which I did. But uh, here's where the codependent perhaps or the training of an abusive household kicks in is even though I thought this was completely retarded and moronic of this individual to do, I still had this uneasy pressure feeling. It was very strange. And I was like, well, why the fuck? Like, I started thinking about why the fuck do I have this feeling of like pressure or like almost like an anxious, impending doom feeling. I started thinking about it, and that's totally from my childhood. That's how I was trained to be. I guess the feeling to describe it more brings to mind the what you call the abuse fog, fear, obligation, and guilt. So the feeling that I was having was one was definitely an obligation of like, oh, I should have been up. Well, like this is my fault. You know what I mean? Also had like a guilt of like, oh, they wasted their time. I could have saved them from wasting their time, and the fear of this might become um, a bigger situation. They're going to be mad at me and this, that, and the other. It was really just like an anxious, uneasy, pressurized, guilty obligation feeling that I was having. Um, and it, like, you know, realistically, logically, you look at it, there's nothing that I could have done to avoid this. Um, in no way, shape, or form was this my fault. This was just a really stupid decision by one individual. But yet, I had the feeling of obligation and guilt and a little bit of fear over what might happen over this. Um, and that totally, when you think about it, it's totally from childhood. This is the way I was raised by my parents, was to, if something went wrong, you better fear it. And if something went wrong, it was always blame shifted onto the children, or you know, some other avenue. And you're made to feel guilty in an abusive household. Um, and it was just, it really, I don't know, it was really kind of eye opening experience. I mean, now that I know all this about all this stuff, I was able to see why I was reacting in that manner. I mean, it wasn't like this overboard reaction, but it was just kind of like a subtle, weird, uneasy feeling that I can assure you a healthy person would have never had. Um, so it's interesting just to kind of see, even 15 years later, and off all the work that I've done, still, you still saw that little ingrained, obligation feeling from your childhood. So I guess the whole point of this was just to kind of let you know the type of things that you might notice. I mean, you might notice this 20, 30 years later in a similar situation. But, the important part is that you realize it and manage it now. Probably 10 years ago, if a similar thing would have happened, I would have probably like apologized to the person, and it probably would have like ruined my whole day and all this shit. But realizing it and knowing it, I would just sent them a message that said, I can't accommodate you if you don't let me know you're coming. Just handled it as a healthy person would. I didn't take any liability for them, and I didn't take any responsibility for their dumb actions. So just you get where I'm going with this. But a very interesting thing to see today, or feel today. It was a very interesting feeling. I kind of caught myself. I'm like, why the fuck am I feeling weird about this? Like, this is 100% their fault, and it was all childhood abuse, man. It's just ingrained in my system, still to this day. I manage it now, and I redirect it and take appropriate action, but it's amazingly still there. But that's it.